Good intentions do not get the job done. Neither does just talking, sincere promises, or earnest wishes. Only the doing gets the job done. Chapter 33. Just follow the rules, stick to the plan, and adhere to all of the principles. It appeared as though no further lessons were about to make themselves known to the two time separations, which made for easy travelling along the last leg of their journey. As they were strolling uneventfully along the road, Bert used the time to explain the documents to Evan and Woody. "I'll explain your documents first," he told Evan, "as they are much simpler to understand. The first thing that you will notice is that your documents are not as thick as his." Woody pointed a mischievous finger at the slim documents, mocking Evan's less impressive paperwork. "The reason for that, as I have already mentioned, is that most of the work will be done by him as a boy and a young man. What I would like you to do when you get home, Evan, is to spend the rest of the weekend reading and studying your documents." Evan wondered just how much time that was exactly, as he felt sure that the weekend must have passed by now. Then, appreciating how time spent with Fate seemed to have a mind of its own, he realised that it could still be 7 on Saturday night, or whatever time Fate decided it was going to be when Evan arrived back at home. The Red Future document is basically a journal of goals that you will have achieved. Its contents will depend on how hard he works and what he achieves. It is at this moment void of any goals, as neither of you have set or achieved any at the moment. Woody held his pouch in the air and let forth a beg to differ cough. Fate put him straight on the fact that an opportunity is just one of the factors which allows one to attain one's goal, rather than a goal itself. I will explain to you what yours is, what it represents, and how it works after I have taken Evan back home. Fate turned his attention back to Evan's future document. Presently, your folder is basically an instruction manual on the importance of setting goals. There is a section which covers everything from self-lies, fear, procrastination and laziness, to time management and the building of self-esteem. Realising that there was no point explaining verbally in too much detail what was already wrote in the future document, Fate moved things along. Your blue plan of action folder, once again, is different to Woody's. His explains the steps which needs to be taken in order to achieve his goals, whereas yours is an explanatory manual documenting the steps which you have already taken in order to attain your goals. None of the methods used or the steps taken will be alien to you, as you will have mastered those skills as a boy and a young man. Evan interrupted Fate as a realization pointed out an observation to him. Am I right in thinking that my documents are not really a necessity?" "That's right, my friend. They are merely a courtesy," admitted Fate, feeling as though it had taken longer than it should have for his pupil to realise the fact that his future depended exclusively on how well the boy utilised his documents. And, no matter what words appeared in his documents, they would change the instant that the boy began to work on his goals. Woody looked concerned at the prospect of all that responsibility being heaped upon his young shoulders. "I don't even understand these documents," he readily confessed. "I don't expect you to understand them yet. What I do expect is for you to spend the rest of the summer holidays studying the two documents in order for you to get a basic understanding of how they work and how to apply their core principles. All you need to do is just follow the rules and stick to the plan, and then everything will work out fine." "What do you need to do?" "Follow the rules and stick to the plan." Right then, this is your daily mantra which I need you to say every morning, every evening, whenever you may be feeling doubtful or whenever you are having negative thoughts. Everything works if I just follow the rules and stick to the plan. Say it. Everything works if I just follow the rules and stick to the plan. Again. Everything works if I just follow the rules and stick to the plan, repeated Woody, with an enthusiasm that left Fate feeling certain that taking them on the journey had been the right thing to do. Fate continued to expand on the core principles. You need to understand the importance of goal setting and appreciate how much your attitude, your self-belief, and your self-esteem play in your success. Fate hoped that he was not leaving the boy behind in a cloud of incomprehension. Woody put Fate's mind at ease when he told him about the advice which he had been given in the top field. Wisdom taught me about self-belief and how you are only a failure if you don't try your absolute best. Evan could feel a whispering appreciation of advice trying to make itself heard. 100% effort, 100% of the time, he quoted, as he remembered what Wisdom had said in the top field. He then recalled Experience's mantra. Consistency is a key to success in all things. Evan looked at Fate as it dawned on him that whatever Woody learned, he would also learn, and that whatever knowledge the boy gained would pass directly into his mind. 39. His mind gave his memory a little reminder concerning the mind-reading game which he had played with Woody during their earlier first meeting. Fate realised that perhaps he ought to explain that not only would Woody's experience become Evan's memories, but Evan's past and present memories could alter or disappear altogether. How can my memories change, let alone disappear? In lots of ways, Fate assured him. It is an inevitable consequence that by altering your past, you will also alter the memories of your past and wipe out some of your present memories. Evan was glad that his young self was not paying attention to the irregular conversation as he was flicking through the pages of his paperwork. I thought you understood that things will be different when you get back home. Yes, I do, but surely not my memories. How can my memories be altered? Fate tried not to show how exasperated he was feeling at Evan's inability to grasp the concept. He briefly looked at the ground while he bit his lip. He then went on to explain how memories are formed. A memory is simply a mental recollection of an event, an incident, or an experience that has occurred. Yes? Evan nodded. Fate continued. Therefore, if the event, incident, or experience never occurred in the first place, then there can be no recollection of it, and no memory can be formed. Fate decided that it might be a good idea to give Evan an example. Take the incident with the chocolate cake. Now, supposing there had been no chocolate cake in the hotel, or we hadn't even gone inside, then there would be no memory of the dropped cake. Yes, I get that, replied Evan, and he genuinely felt as though he understood how it all worked. As they walked, an air of peace surrounded the three travellers, and every now and again young Woody skipped 2 or 3 paces along the road. Nearly home now, Fate told them, as he noticed the road change into a lane. They walked some more until the lane narrowed right down into a pathway covered over here and there with grass. When the pathway changed into a dirt track, it got so narrow in places that they had to walk in single file, with Fate leading Evan and the boy. At one point, Fate and Evan became aware that the youngster had stopped walking. When they turned around, Woody was looking back. I don't want to go home yet, as it means that all the fun is over, he told Evan and Fate, the best 2 friends he was ever going to know. Yes, I must admit the thought of not being able to spend any more time with you upsets me. It hurts my heart. Everything moved so fast over the last 2 days that I never had enough time to chat with you about life. I'm sure that I could have taught you lots of things. Having heard the conversation, Fate went to have a little chat with the boy. You must not look upon this moment as being the end of the journey. Woody looked at the ground rather than in Fate's eyes. A whole new one is ahead of you as you are about to embark upon the journey of your new life. He looked at Evan to let him know that he was speaking to him as well. It will be filled with even more wonderful times, more marvellous events, and all sorts of fascinating people. Woody felt a little happier and almost managed to smile. The best thing about this new journey is that you will be totally in charge of where it goes and what happens along the way. And even though I will not there to help you and guide you in person, metaphorically, I will be right by your side. Meta what? Metaphorically, it means that I will be there in spirit to watch over you, and I will also be within the pages of your documents. Ah, right, that's good then, he replied, pretending to be okay with the explanation, still upset at having to leave his friends, especially Evan. As for the idea that you would like to spend more time with him, you have a lifetime together. All you need to do to get in touch with him is just to talk to yourself. For one last time, Profoundness paid Evan a visit, and one more time Evan owed Fate a debt of gratitude. Listen, said Woody. I can hear the river. Can we walk along the river bank? Yes, of course we can, said Fate, seeing as how the river leads us to the stepping stones and old Ligneous, which is where we will have to leave one another. Once again Fate had reminded the boy of the impending separation from his two best friends. They cut across the grass, with Woody picking up as many small stones as he could find amongst the grass. Will you hold my folders, please? The boy asked, but before he had a chance to answer, Fate found himself holding the documents along with the pouch. When they got to the river, Woody threw the stones one by one into the water. When he threw the stones up into the air, they would then hit the water at a certain angle, which formed large droplets that jumped up from the surface of the water. Woody think they looked like tiny, see-through ghosts that were jumping up and trying to make him jump by saying "Boo!" as they broke the surface of the water. It's funny what you remember sometimes, isn't it? Evan commented as he recalled making water ghosts as a youngster and tried to make light of the way in which his memories may alter. Memories, said Fate. I've been meaning to talk to you about your memories. Evan looked at his mentor, wondering why he had forgotten that they had just talked about how memories could change. He then realised that Fate was just fooling with him as a form of irony, perhaps for one last time. Having run out of stones to throw and realising that they were nearing the stepping stones and the huge tree, Woody joined his companions. Fate passed back the plan of action and a future document to the boy. He then secured the pouch to Woody's belt loop. Once they had crossed the stepping stones, they all walked a short distance to the shade of the big old tree, where Fate explained the final part of their journey to his two companions. In a moment I will guide you back home, he told Evan. Then looking at the youngster, he continued with, when I get back, you and I will study your documents until you have a clear understanding of how to use them, along with the opportunity. Woody looked concerned that he might not be able to grasp the way in which the documents worked, or even understand some of the long words. Don't worry. If you don't understand what I have just told you, tell me, and I will explain. Remember what experience told you? If you still don't understand, tell me again and I will explain again in a different manner, Fate reminded him. Woody looked at Fate and wondered how he knew what experience had said. After all, there was only experience and wisdom around at the time. Fate had been sat near the bridge with Evan and the landlord. Fate glanced at Evan and then looked the boy straight in the eyes and said, I know everything about the both of you. And he gave the youngster a look as though to confirm that there were no secrets from him. Woody wondered if he knew about the scar and the girl in the bedroom window. He wondered if Fate knew his middle name and how many other secrets he may be aware of. He considered asking Fate and then decided that he would rather not know the answer to any of those questions. Thank you very much. Instead, he decided that he would check out the red future document, hoping that he could escape Fate's all-knowing knowledge about him. Woody was looking near the back of the folder at a section containing daily affirmations and noticed that the first one was written in slanted writing and printed in thick letters. Must be important, he deduced, and showed it to Evan. Why are these words printed in bold italics? Evan asked Fate. In order that the three of them did not have to crowd around the same document, Fate took Evan's folder and opened it to the section on affirmations. Obviously, it is one of the most important affirmations of all, because of its undisputable truth and effectiveness. Fate read the result-producing affirmation out loud. Good intentions do not get the job done. Neither does just talking, sincere promises, or earnest wishes. Only the doing gets the job done. But why is this one also in bold, slanted letters then? Asked Woody. Fate turned the page and read what was, and still is, the most important observation in either of the documents. That reason there is exactly what separates all of those who get what it is they want from those who do not. It is what separates those who just talk about it from those who actually take action and ultimately achieve their goals. Just that, asked Evan, struggling with the simplicity of the principle. Yes, just that. It is the only characteristic which all successful people have in common with all other successful people, Fate assured them. What about? Fate interrupted Woody. If we're going to go through the document and folder here, then we may as well go back to the hotel and study them together in the snug. Not for the first time, Evan got the feeling that Fate did not want to hang about any longer than he had to. Maybe he just wants to get back at me with love, he decided as being the reason behind his impatience. The time had come for Fate to take Evan back home. Although Woody had been expecting Evan to leave him at some point, he had constantly pushed the thought to the back of his mind, but he managed a contrived, gentle smile. He knew, though, that it was just a front to cover over the sadness which he was really feeling. Fate instructed Woody that while he was away he should study the folder about future goals, but not to bother yet with the blue plan of action. In fact, what I would like you to do is to read the affirmations which are in the back of that folder and then practice reciting them out loud. Out loud? Questioned Woody, not really being bothered about talking to himself out loud, but rather wondering why he should have to. For two reasons. The first one being that affirmations work most productively when spoken out loud, as distractions are unable to penetrate or interrupt the spoken word as easily. And second, reading aloud helps to improve your vocabulary and your articulation, which will help you immensely in business meetings and your new life as an entrepreneur. Woody nodded and then asked, How long will one be before one's return? Fate had to smile at the youngster's rather impressive attempt at improving his pronunciation and grammatical dexterity. One should anticipate one's return within 20 minutes, Fate replied. Woody looked at himself, the elder, and then moved towards him. Evan and the boy embraced each other, not wanting to leave one another, but knowing they had to. I'm counting on you, he told the youngster. Don't let us down. I won't, I promise. And still they held each other. Do what Fate asks. When he gets back, I will. Evan knew they had to let the boy go before Fate became agitated about what time it was. I'm ready, if you are, he told Fate unconvincingly. Fate nodded, and Evan gave the youngster one last hug. I love you, my friend. I love you too, returned Woody. Best friends forever. Forever, confirmed Evan, as he set off. They made their way back to the stepping stones and across the river. Once they had reached the other side, they walked to the top of the banking, where it began to level out into the field which Evan felt was the place where the darkness of his garage had turned into the light. Evan turned to have one final look at his young self. He was pleased, for although Woody looked kind of small and far away, Evan could make out that he was sat beneath old Igneous reading, and if Evan was not mistaken, it appeared as though the boy was gesticulating with his hands, giving it his all as he recited the affirmations. Fate told Evan they had to walk forward into the darkness. Although the darkness was nowhere to be seen, and Evan knew that it was sure to appear directly, he felt obliged to ask, What darkness? It will be here in a moment, Fate assured him. No sooner had the words left the mouth of Fate than the sunshine and the daylight left the place in which they were walking. The speed at which the darkness eclipsed their surroundings brought Evan to a standstill. Fate reassuringly placed his hand on Evan's shoulder. Dark enough? Yes, said Evan. I can barely see a thing. This is where I must leave you. How do I get on from here? He asked, glad that Fate's hand was still resting on his shoulder. Always walk towards the darkest area, Fate instructed his friend, and then gently pulled Evan off to one side, showing him the difference when he moved offline. And it's the same over here, Fate told him, as he pushed Evan 2 or 3 steps in the other direction. Evan could see the difference, and then standing in the less intense darkness so that he could faintly see his guide, Evan put his hand out to Fate. Then, thinking of all the kindness which Fate had shown him and the lessons which she had taught him on their wonderful journey, he put his arms around his mentor. Evan had now learned what genuine friendship was. He had discovered true friends in Fate and himself, the younger. He continued to hold Fate, trying to convey his gratitude by the tightness of his embrace, not wanting to leave his newfound friend nor the bond which had developed between them. Thank you, he said, as he hugged Fate. Thank you so very much. It has been, well, amazing. You are most welcome, was the sincere reply from Fate, who returned the hug. Finally, Evan had to admit to himself that it was time to go, time to leave his friend. He relinquished his hold on Fate. I will always be there for you, Fate assured him. I will never be far away. All you have to do when you need help is to ask yourself, what would Fate do in this situation? If that does not provide the answer, there are advice pages in the back of those folders, and there is a section which explains all about the opportunity. Fate gave Evan some final instructions before he turned and left to make his way back to the boy. Fate, Evan called. He hesitated a moment and then said, I love you, man. Fate was caught out by the unexpected profoundness of the compliment, and he fumbled his reply. Thanks. Me too. Fate continued to walk out of the darkness and back into the light, where he would end up facing the repercussions of an unsanctioned journey and his refusal to follow the long-established protocol.